Welcome back, Planet Zoo adventurers to UK theme parks, and here we are building something a little bit better than what we have already. Now, just to fill you in, this is the same park. As we've said before, we really do feel that with Planet Zoo, there's no need to continuously change parks unless you want a different biome and a different setting, which we don't particularly want. We're quite happy with the setting we've got. We just need to up our game a bit, and that is what we're going to start doing with this. So this is the slightly further back in the park to what we had before with our African area and the crocodiles and bits we have there. So we are gonna build a Asian area, an Indian Asian area, East Asia area, if you will, down at the back here, which we're starting now. Now then, for you to catch up, since Planet Zoo has been released, there's been quite a few updates to it. It may seem small updates, but quite a few updates to it. Now, although we are playing in Sandbox mode, that is our preferred mode of choice, and the reason for this is that we want to, we want to be able to have the freedom to do what we want to do. Quite simply, we don't want to be restricted by the money or anything like that. But at the same time, we do want to make money. We want to make sure the zoo's profitable. We want to make sure, that what we're building is indeed happy with guests, which is, is the ultimate goal. Now, you would have seen in the previous episodes that, quite honestly, the zoo was trash. Absolute trash. And I can't really defend it, to be honest with you. It was quite lazy building, but we're new to the game. We were new to the game, and it was very difficult to kind of get the hang of it and what was going on and where to put things and how guests would react. And indeed, facilities have caused us a massive problem in negative guest feedback. Now, with one of the updates, it changed the refund policy for once. And you may have seen, if you do follow the game online, you do follow some of the communities, you will have seen that a lot of people have gone from having lots and lots of money to absolutely no money in franchise mode. And we started losing money as well, oddly enough, with this. Now, apparently there has been another update to the game, so it's something we're going to keep an eye on as to whether or not we're still hemorrhaging money. Another update that was added to Sandbox mode is that you can now turn off some of the, practically actually all of the, little bits and pieces that kind of make the game a management game, so you can kind of come away from it. And what we mean by that is you can turn off animals dying. You can turn off the need for, the vets, you can turn off some of the guest forts, you can turn off the need for power, you can turn off the need for the water, you can turn all of that off and just concentrate on the zoo and just have people happy all the time. We don't want to do that. As we said, we do want to play the game, to all the facilities that it has. We want to, we want to make sure that we can get in the staff facilities. We want to make sure we keep the staff. We want to make sure we got the hiring and the firing as well. We want to make sure that we are keeping the guests happy. So last episode, we looked at the guest feedback. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. And it is going to require quite a lot of work to turn this zoo around, and that starts with this new area. Now, we want to build a new area so people have somewhere else to go, and then we will go back and we will definitely have to refurbish the African area, which, we did a little bit of work to it last time, and I thought it would be good enough, but it does seem that the facility building, in particular the facilities building, which causes a lot of issues, that's going to stay. It's got to be a certain distance away from it. So where we have particularly the water, which we try to bury underground, it makes no difference. It makes no difference. If it's within the radius, it's going to cause us a problem. So we will have to go back and completely redo that area at some point. We believe there is a glitch as well at the moment with the rides, the fact that people aren't riding them. A lot of people are reporting this, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that as well. And it may be a case of our Safari Drive, which, this is our first attempt. We want to make it quite clear to you that this is our first attempt at the zoo, and it's been quite obvious that we were a little bit lackluster on it. So we're going to make a little bit more effort, particularly starting with this Asia section, which you see here. And we're going to start with the pandas. We are going to bring the pandas in. As you can see, we're putting a little bit more effort into the building here. Certainly a lot more detail, and we're also going to move away from the standard shelters, and we're going to build something custom for the animals, rather than just one of those pre-selected ones, because actually you don't need to have them. And I didn't realize at the time that you didn't need to have them. I assumed you had to have them, but that's not the case. It's not the case at all. You can quite happily build a shelter, put the bits inside, and they are as happy as can be. Now, we've seen quite a lot of people online, and they've built some amazing things, and you know, kind of opened it with it in, and we've seen them not follow the biomes as well. So we are going to show you, as you can see here, the biomes as we add the plants and as we add you know, the rocks and the enrichment items, to show you that we are making this green. You know, the whole goal of this is to make it green, and that everyone is happy and that all the animals are happy and everything like that. Not just, you know, pick some plants that we think fit, or pick some plants that sit nicely in the corner or of a certain size. That's not what it's about. We want to make sure this is as realistic as we possibly can make it. And we're starting with the pandas here. So you can see here, we've got a lovely new building, and we're going to lower, we've decided we're going to lower the floor, the ground bit, so people can walk by and they'll be able to look into the enclosure and hopefully get a better view. You know, we don't want these 3-star views that we keep getting down the other end, and necessarily have these really big sort of enclosures with a few glass walls. There will be cases where we do want some glass walls and we do want people to see it, but you know, as a general rule, we want people to be able to look down on it and kind of, you know, really enjoy it and soak most of it in. Now, because of this, the idea is with this is that the facilities should go at the back of the enclosure. So building the park to accommodate that actually isn't that easy, because you've got to, you know, kind of either go in a circle, go in a straight line. You know, if guests get too close to it, it's definitely going to cause a problem. Just checking on the lines over here. As a general rule, we are actually going to pause the game whilst we do this, because this is such a major expansion. We are going to pause the game, but obviously when we unpause to check how the pandas are and indeed what they need, and you know, make sure they're happy before we kind of build too much, we are going to encounter some normal zoo issues as well, as the rest of the zoo is still running. We do also really want to try and get some albinos in. We understand they are available in Sandbox, and you know, we've done quite a lot of breeding, to be fair, but thus far no luck on that front. But that is something we are definitely looking forward to. Now, even these back buildings here, so these are staff areas we're going to enclose. You know, we're not going to do too much detail on the inside, because I don't really see the need to do detail on the inside. You know, these buildings won't be particularly seen. The facilities will be out the way, but you know, we'll make sure that every enclosure has the facilities needed. Because obviously if they've got the facilities needed, they won't have to go very far when, you know, animals are sick or when they need to prepare food. And hopefully again, it will cut down the fact that some of the animals go hungry. So the first one we're looking at here is the panda enclosure. This is kind of the one you're seeing being built up here, and this is the facility building behind. We've just run a massive path, a massive staff path around the back, and you know, next door to this we are probably going to be looking at red pandas. We definitely want to get some tigers in, some of the Bengal tigers in, and then we may go slightly different and put in maybe a monkey area. See how that one flows with you know, an ice monkey. And of course, over in our Africa area, we do have the Indian rhinos. Now then, there are no white rhinos in this game, which is a little bit odd. I would expect them to be added in a future expansion. I'm sure there will be many expansions. You know, there's loads and loads of animals we'd love to see in this game, you know, from marine life to simple ones like meerkats and you know, ones like that. But certainly I think white rhinos will be added, the African rhino will be added at some point. But the Indian rhinos, you know, we had it as part of our monorail tour, if you will, over in our African section. But you know, we are going to come and house them over here, and I think ultimately then we will be able to go back and completely refurbish that area with the correct animals in there. Now, as you can see here, even in the staff areas, we are going to put little fences down. We are going to enclose it quite nicely, get the right you know, bits and pieces in, get the right foliage in, get the right plants, the right everything. We really want this area to look good. And you know, I have to be honest, this little section now, which I'm building now, already looks much better than anything we've built over the other side. So what we're going to have is we're going to have a viewing platform as well. You know, it seems to be really popular where you have a viewing platform over the enclosure, so people can go and really look down on the animals. So we're going to have a little walk up point with a little umbrella, because we are based in the European biome, which means it rains a lot. It really does rain. We've had lots of rain, lots of snow, and of course we want to make sure that the education, you know, the education when we clicked on it was one of the real downfalls. We've only got sort of a you know, two-star rating, I think, for education at the moment, which is absolutely dreadful. It really is utterly dreadful. You know, accompany that with some bin problems, with some litter problems, and particularly facility problems, has been a real killer for us. A real killer for this. And you know, we will go through the finance sheets once we've done this, and you will see that, you know, refunds are huge, absolutely huge. Hopefully they have been fixed. I really don't think if someone comes to the zoo, you know, the animals, they all say are nicely well fed for. You know, we don't really get protesters in very often. But you just get upset about seeing a staff facility and ask for a full refund seems a little bit excessive for a simulation game. So it'll be interesting to see how they balance that. But at the moment, certainly, you know, you can't afford to make too many mistakes. You really can't afford to make too many mistakes. Now these buildings as well, these little areas going up, we want to make sure that we've got fully enclosed, and we're probably going to pop some shops in here as well. So we'll make it a little bit wider so we can pop some shops in either side. That will also make people go into this area and hopefully go up and use the top part, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't lead anywhere, there's always a good chance that they won't actually use it. Now then, we'll get this enclosed, we'll have a look at this, and you know, we kind of want to go, you know, build it as we go, rather than doing too much enclosures and then coming back and build it. We literally want to get one enclosure done, one enclosure sorted, and be really happy with it before going any further. And of course, this bit over here as well, this Panda bit, will be the main entrance to the Asia section. You know, we're going to go for a flat roof there, but it's just so boring. I don't think we are going to go for a flat roof. We'll go for something a little bit more interesting. And we will go for a different roof type as well to what we've got over the other side. And I think we're going to join it in the middle to really kind of spice it up a bit. You know, we are going to put the outer skirtings on there as well, so it overlaps nicely, and we will put some decoration on the walls, you know, add some windows, thus such. And then of course we will have our little entrance area. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a little bridge in, and we'll line that up there. And I think we'll put a kind of makeshift door so people can, it looks like people can walk between the other. I don't really know whether or not we'll need that, or whether or not we just build, I think what we'll probably do is build another building opposite so it matches up. Yeah, there we go. I think that looks a lot better like that. And it's a really enclosed area, so it's kind of like going between secret walls, if you will, heading down into the Asia section, into the Indian section, the East Asia area. And yeah, really looking forward to seeing how it will turn out. Now, one thing we have noticed from the other end of the park is that it becomes a bit of a car crash if you don't have very wide paths. It really does become a bit of a car crash. So it's something we're going to look at on here, is that we want to have maximum path width, because it's just too much. Now, we can't have it through this little building area, granted, through the entrance area, but you know, people shouldn't be stopping here. You know, there's no food outlets here, there's nothing really to look at. A few pictures on the wall there of some of the animals we will either include or eventually include into this area, but ultimately, you know, we want to have a lot of space. We want to make sure we get benches in, and we want to make sure that we get bins in as well. And it's definitely got to look at some recycling bins. I think they make a difference to the litter. We'll get all these enclosed. As you can see, these wonderful frames to go on the front. I don't think they've got these in Planet Coaster. I'm pretty sure it's new for this game. I've not seen them. I will go back in Planet Coaster and have a little bit of a look, actually, because I'm not sure whether I've seen them or not. But you know, we'll get the right trees in here, get some nice big ones. And just really enclose it, really make it look good, and you know, have a decent entrance. We're going to put some pandas over there as well. And you know, pandas are a massive attraction to the zoo. I'll be expecting the attendants to shoot right up. Problem is, obviously, as soon as we hit play, it will shoot right up straight away, where people won't have access to this area until we've done a little bit more work on it. Particularly as the other entrance will be down by the crocodile section. Now, of course, two of the crocodiles we got in the saltwater, and the other one as well, they are from the Asia section. So the Nile monitors we will probably phase out for the moment, because they're African based, and of course we will need to refurbish our African area. I don't know why I can't turn this around. God, that was hard work. That was hard work. One thing on Planet Coaster is they do have them go both ways, which is a lot easier than having to turn it around. So yeah, the Nile monitors we will probably phase out of where they are, and then of course the idea is this will circle round towards the current enclosures that are there. They will be refurbished, redone, and you know, the Asia section will be at kind of on the left hand side as you enter the park. And of course it can be expanded. There's lots and lots of animals that can go in here. And you know, there are 3 sort of main biomes, maybe even 4 main biomes that we want to go for. So we want to have our African, we want to have our Asia, which we have here. Obviously we're going to extend the path to make the path bigger. And we then got sort of your North American animals as well, which I think will probably go under a standard, you know, Planet Coaster theme. But you know, we'll have a look. We'll have a look at some of the themes and other bits. But you know, our focus at the moment is to have something that people are hopefully going to be really, really happy with when they come to the zoo. So that's the first enclosure built. That is the panda enclosure, pretty much finished. The building for the pandas are there. The pandas are in, all the rocks are in, all the trees in, all the enrichment items are in. They've got things to climb on. You know, paths are done. And yeah, that is our completed enclosure. Now, we are going to move on now and do the next enclosure also in this episode. Now, the Zoopedia actually, which we've never really showed you before when we've done other ones, does tell you where area they're from. It kind of tells you what group size you need. It really gives you all the information you need. And this is going to be our red panda area. Now we have heard that if you build too high, even if you're within the enclosure and it feels like you are potentially the animals escaping, but we want to try something different with this. We want to really you know, build it up and have something a little bit different with it. We're going to use the back of house facilities which we built for the panda. And the reason we want to do that is because, you know, it backs on quite nicely to it. We can, actually we'll make this a little bit bigger, it's definitely a bit too small. You know, it backs on quite nice. We can have the gate at the top right of the screen now, where you see it sort of in the middle actually, from where we build the fences, and it will really flow quite nicely, and then the staff path can go round the back to the next enclosure, and it will keep well out of sight of the guests. So yeah, we're going to put the wall round the base bit. You know, we could use the knoll wall, but I think they're going to be able to climb over the rocks, so we won't use the knoll wall. We will definitely do this. But as you can see, you know, we're going to go for a very slightly different look. There we go, double check the animals. A very slightly different look here, probably with a different roof. And again, you know, we can build out from the area we've got, as you can see, and you know, the fence can go in the middle. It doesn't matter too much. We're going to add extra power and extra water in there as well. That'll still be tucked away at the back. And you know, this will become, the little section there will become their enclosure, because you know, at the end of the day, they don't need a massive enclosure. And with only half a fence there, we will move it slightly over just to give them a little bit. We might have a little climbing frame in here as well. You know, it's plenty of space. So they've got hard shelter inside the building. The building is also home to other bits and pieces. Yeah, I know, on the realistic side from inside the building it wouldn't look like this, but you know, guests can't see the inside the building. As a general rule, we're not going to be continuously showing you the inside the building. It just seems a little pointless. You know, we want to show you the outside, what it looks like, how happy the guests are, and indeed, you know, to kind of view from above how great it actually looks. So we are going to go slightly different on this one. We're going to have a nice back piece here to really kind of separate it from the pandas. And you know, rather than people looking at it side on, they're going to have to walk around it to have a look at the front of the building and have a look at the red pandas kind of from the side rather than from the front like they are the other one. So we're going to build a custom climbing frame here. Now, as I said, I don't know whether or not we can, how high we can have this, because I have seen that it kind of says that you know, the animals have escaped when clearly they haven't escaped. But we want it to go a little bit high so they can actually enter the building from the top and the bottom. So they have an extra option of getting inside. And it will be really nice as well, because guests will be able to come past and they'll be able to see the red pandas coming in and out of the base and in and out of kind of the wall in the middle, to be honest with you. So literally just like that, have them going through the wall, and then inside we'll have them coming back down again. You know, these are amazing climbers, but we want to make sure that they aren't actually going to escape. At the end of the day, that's the whole idea. We want to make sure they're not going to escape. So they've got their bed in there. One thing actually that's really good is they don't seem to make a jump for it over walls. You know, I think arguably we could build this, you know, build this in real life. The red panda will probably give a jump over the wall, but in the game, fortunately, that doesn't happen. So you can cut it a little bit closer to the edge than what perhaps you know, you can definitely for what you could do in real life. But all these are climbable, and it'll be really, you know, we haven't had any of the climbing animals in yet, although we've had the lions down there that kind of walk up the rocks and things. We've not had any of these climbing animals in. So I've actually not seen them climb. I've not seen the animation of them climb. I'm not sure, you know, if they go straight up the pole, whether or not they have to use the platforms. I'm not sure on any of it, to be honest. It'll be really interesting to see how they do it. Now, this may be too big. It may be too big, but we're going to have a look and get the red pandas inside. Now, as you can see there, we've built the staff path as well. Staff path we've had to join right round the back. This might have to move depending on the enclosures we do, because, you know, at the end of the day, if we decide to bring this right round, you know, we are going to have, well, that was a bit cold. I don't know why that one's a bit cold. We're going to have, you know, the staff path going much further out. Oh dear. Oh, our poor giraffe has died of old age. Oh, bless him. Bless him. And so is our non-monitor. So there's a couple of deaths there. A couple of unfortunate deaths. Oh, there's another one. The zebra's gone as well. These are old age ones. They are dying of old age. We have had them quite a long time. As I said, we've had to unpause the game in order to get the red pandas in, and that's what's caused the game to continue. And yeah, something always happens. Something always happens. So as you can see here, you know, the biome wise, we want to get it absolutely spot on. We want to make sure that we've got enough trees. We are just going to very slightly revisit the panda cage to make sure that we pad these out with slightly bigger trees, I think, because it will give them a little bit more shelter, which they need. As you can see there, they've not got enough shelter. Now there's a couple more, you know, the breeding pandas already. They've not got quite enough shelter. So we've had a quick look at that, and here's a red panda. Here he is, look, and he literally goes straight up that pole. So let's sort out the base first of what he likes to make sure he's happy, and we're going to get some trees in there. We've got to be aware that some of these he might be able to climb. Again, I don't know whether we put him at the edge, whether or not he'll be able to get out of them. Not 100% sure, so it'll be really interesting to see how that works. So if you want to know what's climbable, you can kind of type in climbable. But also on the tags which we're on now, it does tell you where the tags are listed, whether or not it is climbable as one of the features, whether it be a tree, whether it be a post, whether it be anything. And yeah, you know, we want to make sure they can climb. We also want to make sure that people can see them. Where you've got to have quite a lot of trees and things in here, you know, you do run the risk that they disappear off into the tree and we get a 3-star view again. So let's let the pandas disappear off. I think we are going to do some decoration on the front of this building. So we're going to complete that one right now and get that done. So we're approaching the end of this episode. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about our Asian section? Because this is completely different to our African section. You know, we've really tried to make a little bit more of an effort on this and make it look a lot better. So please leave your comments below. What do you think so far? What do you think we could be doing? And indeed, have your ideas for our African adventure change? I think we are definitely going to have to change it. But thank you for joining us in this episode. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I really hope you've enjoyed the changes that I'm making to the zoo, and indeed some of the new architecture which we're doing, because these look amazing. We'll see you next time.